There's so much I want to say right now
Yo,
to
just
you.
speed up, bro. People, we got to give them the hook. If they don't watch for the first 30 seconds, they're done. They're not watching this. So we got to get them hooked.
I think we're gonna get the hook.
Let's hook them.
Let's hook them, man.
Let's hook them. Let's hook them. Hi, I'm Mike Van Houdt, and this is Rory. Hi, Rory. Welcome to the show.
Damn.
Damn.
The man just takes over my show. No, you know what? First and foremost, I got to dap you up.
Cheers, man.
And love and peace.
Thanks, man.
And prosperity.
Respect.
And I'll give a quick little side story about Mike. It was a DM conversation I was added to. Conversation fell through a little bit just because whatever, we're busy and stuff like that. I saw you out. We don't talk about the places or the location. You know, people get on their
Wasn't
Googles.
a strip club though. Wasn't a strip club. I don't do those. I don't do those establishments for sure.
But
and
I went up to you. You were eating a meal. You with one of your guys, and I said, "Hey, listen, that's my opportunity to make an introduction." So, thanks, Mike, you're a great man.
Welcome to the show.
Welcome to the show. Welcome to the show. No, you do a lot of things, man.
Yeah,
a lot of things.
Energy, baby. That's all we got.
Yeah.
It's the only gift we're given. Energy.
Jesus, man. Let me tell you something. I need to know what made you start this ACCELER8?
Pretty straightforward stuff. I was selling cars at the time, and I needed to find a way to speed up the delivery process. So when people were buying a car from me, I used to sell Audi Q5s, and when people were buying Q5s, they were picking up their car, and I sold like 20 in a month, and I kept doing 20 every month, and every month I had the same thing over and over and over. And anybody that knows me, I'm very like anti-boring. If it's boring, I'm just not interested. Or I try to automate it, speed it up, or just parcel it to somebody else. So I felt like, man, doing the same thing over and over. So I just put a camera up, recorded myself, do the walk around, and I sent it to clients ahead of time. And then from there, I put it on the internet, and it kind of popped a little bit. And I was like, oh, there's something here. And anybody in the car business will tell you there's just a lot of sitting around time, which is where all this like multiple streams of income came from, and doing all these different things. It's because when you're sitting there and you're bored out of your mind, that's the most dangerous place to be. Boredom, right? Like boredom as men, man, sitting alone, being bored is like the hardest, worst thing to kind of deal with. So for me, it's about keeping this mind busy. And some people would say, well, you're not like thinking about what makes you bored and what makes you happy and what makes you sad. And I'm like, dude, if I'm always moving and I'm always doing something, I'm always happy. So why would I ever pick the alternative? For me, that's my, plus I'm, everybody that knows me is like, man, you definitely have like ADHD or ADD. I don't know what the difference is, but whatever that happens to be, hyperness is what I have.
No, you got that. You got that smooth vibe to you. Like I even see it with the videos what you do with the housing stuff and stuff like that. You see it. It's like you bring what you do with cars into that part of sales. Yeah, man. And you know what? And everything I do, I can't do without somebody else, right? So for ACCELER8, my partner Ian, he makes me look amazing on camera. So I'm super hyper. I mean, I cuss a lot. He cuts all the cussing out. I say stuff that's probably not, I wouldn't say get me canceled, but stuff that probably people don't want to hear that comes out of my mouth just because I'm in the flow of things, right? There's certain like things that I would say, but he cuts it out because he's like, it's just not right for YouTube, because we got to watch out for like advertising guidelines, right? You know, which like you can't say certain things, especially in the car business, right? Because it is still fairly conservative. And then like for Instagram on my house tour stuff, which is like 4 months old now or 5 months old, it's my assistant in Colombia, and she just basically she's got it down packed. So she just records me walk through a house, and she knows exactly my turn. She knows exactly what I'm gonna do. But without her, if I try to get somebody else to do it, man, it's just not as good. So it's like you need to have the other person there to help you in every business I have. You know, you have a trademark that you do. In all your videos, you always do the wipe.
Touching, bro. Yeah, I'm touching.
The touch.
I'm touching, bro. I'm touching. I love it.
I'm sitting here and I watch how you do that. And I'm like, yo, this guy's got, you got swag, bro.
You know why, man? I tell you what, started like with the YouTube stuff, right? It's a few things happen. One is speaking, so voice. So when I'm speaking and I was doing an Audi Q7 versus an Audi Q8, I was like, look at this truck. Look at this girl on this truck. But those are not trucks, those are SUVs. And I grew up in Dubai, so those are considered trucks. And then the internet blew up and I got all this hate. They were just making fun of me like crazy. And then that's the one thing I've realized for voice. You say little catchy pieces or something that doesn't like align with somebody's brain, which is what's happening in Colombia now. There are like, some guy messaged today, or like I got a million messages, but one of the messages I got today that I should read, which made me laugh, was like, when you get, he's like, does it come with the kidnapping session too? Because of course, Colombia, they all think we're getting kidnapped when you're there. So then I just checked this guy's profile out, and it's like this like white dude sitting in a blonde hair, white dude sitting in a pickup truck, and he had like his bright blue eyes, and I'm like with those beautiful bright blue eyes, the boys are gonna have a hell of a good time with you, right? And he messaged back, and then he's like, yo, he's like they'd snatch me up in no time. I'm gonna let all the homies know that you're coming. So I just mess with that shit, you know. And honestly, man, there's no, and I think the internet. So one of the things I want to just talk of right off the bat is how the internet sort of fuels the fire to do better. Now you can choose to hate on there, which is fine, but it's like for me it's like when I post stuff out, whether it's good or bad, it's still movement. It's still positive movement. It doesn't have to be the right information. People could be hating like crazy. It's fine, but it's the positive movement because I get attention, and attention will get me to the person that's either looking to buy the house or get me to somebody that I need to meet in the future. And I think if you don't put yourself out there, whether it's, I wouldn't say it's, the good or bad is hard because the internet, you can pick both sides to anything, man. You can be like, man, those pants are too tight. And then girls will be like, I love tight pants. And you have a bunch of girls that are like, I hate tight pants. Tight pants are for girls. Whatever they think about, you always have a yin and a yang. That's the thing about the internet. There's no right or wrong. Of course, like if you're like killing baby puppies with your hand and drowning them, it's a different story. But if you're doing something that is like showing houses in my case, if you believe this house is worth $500,000, or if you believe this is worth $200,000, or if you believe it's $700K, you're still going to put your input in. You're going to say it's either too expensive or it's way too cheap. You have an input, right? And that's the thing. And the more input I have, the more Instagram gets me to throw this massive net out. And then, because I'm trying to catch, this is how I put it, I try to catch bluefish. And when I throw this massive fish out, this massive net out, I get 1,000 fish. And there's 993 silverfish. And there's 7 bluefish. Now, if I was like, okay, well, that's a bad idea. That's a lot of work because you have to filter all those silverfish out. You get all these silverfish barking at you, trying to pull you in whatever direction they want you to go. But you have to stay focused on trying to get those bluefish. Whereas if I was a totally different approach where I was like, no, man, I'm just going to put my little fishing rod in here and trying to catch a bluefish. Dude, I'd be there for months, man. Versus I can do it in a day. Right? So that is my thing. For me, it's just try to get as much attention as I can. It's nothing new, but it's just how my theories worked. So I can't deal with every single person that comes across my table. I just can't. It's impossible. So I've tried to have more filters. And this is what's exciting about the internet is that whatever direction of like a job or a career, whatever you decide it to be, it doesn't happen just because you thought about it one day. It happens by accident generally. So when you start those things, you start realizing, okay, like what's the problem now? So I'm like, at first I did this 4 months ago. Boom, I had all this attention. And then I was like, way too much attention. Everybody fell through, like they fell through the gaps. So what I had to do was I had to create filters. And then now I have a filter of like, hey, if you want to learn about the basics of Colombia, you can subscribe to my Instagram channel or whatever. Because now it's like, you can't afford $20 and you want to invest. I'm sorry, dude, but if you can't afford $20, this is probably not right for you. And if you feel like you want to spend the time on your own dime to go spend 20 hours of your own time to go find out what the information I'm giving you for $20 is a month, obviously, then, and because I'm constantly updating it, then go do that. But what is your time worth? And people don't think that way, right? People want to, a lot of people, majority of people actually just want to investigate for themselves, learn it for themselves so they can feel like they know it as opposed to just paying somebody, getting information, and then advancing them. It's just common sense. But that's the first thing. Then the second thing now is like, okay, instead of me holding people's hand and showing them all these properties and connecting with all the agents, now I'm simply just consulting for people. So now I'm like, listen, if you want to deal with me, because I just have so much attention, I can't deal with everybody, you have to pay for it. So now I'm charging people $3,000 for me to, because here's the thing, here's the business part of it that came up, is that because I get all this attention, I have all these, I don't say all, but a lot of Colombian real estate agents that want to promote their product, but they don't have the attention to do so. But I do. So they'll send me all these listings for me to see if I want to do them. So I said, you know what, instead of doing that, you send me all the listings that you and your team get every week to my team. So I have 45 different agents that do that. Plus I have 2 girls that are knocking on doors from time to time. Plus I have all the sellers that want the international exposure and they send me their product. So then I have 3 different ways to get product. I filter all that stuff every week, and then we just make decisions on what we're going to see, what we're going to post, and then do that. So that's the whole key. I'm getting a ton of input versus me trying to go find that. It's just a totally different game. And Instagram has done that, man. So I mean, like for me, it's like, yeah, people be like, oh, you just like, what is the point? You're always on the internet. Like, don't you have a life? Like, what do you do for fun? I'm like, dude, this is fun as hell, man. Like, this is a purpose. Like, I figured out for me how to win in North America. I understand how the Canadian system works. I know if I want to open up a business, get people to work for me, create a system, all that fun stuff, you can make money. If all you want in life is money, man, it is a different path than if you want to live a life of some purpose. And the purpose for me now is South America, because I hate the winter. And the other part about it is I like the culture. Our culture in Canada has shifted, unfortunately, and a lot of people will say that it's like, yeah, Canada's changed for the worse. I'm like, I don't know about it changing for the worse, but the system, everything's kind of just changed. In whatever direction you believe it, whether it's right or wrong, it's changed.
So would you say that with going over to South America, being in Canada, and you said a lot there. It's like being in its own masterclass. You know what I mean?
Sorry.
I feel like I'm gonna have to put this behind a paywall now. You know what I mean? No, but it's information that changes situations.
For sure.
Would you say that was one of your biggest risks that you've done, or is there something else that comes to mind?
No, man. I mean, I think it starts at the if we're talking basics here, it starts at the bottom level. Like, what are your daily expenses? What are your weekly expenses? What are your monthly expenses? I don't document all that stuff, but I know what I make a month and I know what I spend a month. So as long as it's less, I'm cool. Then what's the risk? My time. My time is always free, really. To me, it's free. To other people, I can choose whether I want to charge for it or not, right? Like all of us. And I mean, like, I'm never like, oh yeah, my time's worth this much, because I don't want it to get to my head. So I feel like as long as I stay grounded, then it's like, what is the angle for it, right? And I would say the best way to put it this way, man, is when I'm here, I feel kind of depressed, to be honest. You know, I don't feel like I'm getting anywhere. It's like, yeah, cool. Like I have a roofing company. So if I'm like, cool, I sell the roof. I get some money for the roof. I sort it out. I get a check. I get money. Money goes in a bank. Dude, like, where's the excitement? Like, where's the purpose? Then you can take that money and then maybe go buy something for, like, you have kids or whatever, or if you want to do other things in your life, buy a toy, whatever. But then it stops there again. Like, where's the end line with this game? There's no end line, man. The end line is like, I got everything, and now what? Boring. But if you can go to a country that you don't speak the language, and you can figure out a system that you're still dominating everybody else that's been doing it their whole lives, and I can come in and dominate, pretty sick, man. Pretty sick. You know, and then I'm like, cool. And now it leads me to other things. Like, man, there's so much there that for the first time in my life, I feel like I'm actually overwhelmed, because there's so much opportunity for me to go there, and there's attention. So, like, I'll give you an example. Every day, I can get between 3 and 5 messages solely for bachelor parties. People wanting to go to South America for bachelor parties. I can open up a company for bachelor parties. I can open up a company to import vehicles from the States into Colombia, because it's very expensive and difficult to do. I can set up a whole private lending fund for North Americans to invest in Colombia, because the minimum interest you're getting in Colombia is 10%. Even if you're the dumbest person on the planet, you're making 10%. Whereas here, to make 10% is not easy. Most people are making 3, maybe 4. If they have some sort of smarts, they'll make 7 or 8. And if they're really smart, they'll make anywhere between 10 and 20, or 10 and 18. That's kind of the math. And I mean, interest is an important piece, right? Like, money management versus cash flow are completely different beasts. One is like the fuel for a bike, and the other is the bike. They're 2 different games, you know? So when you have that opportunities, man, that constantly, when I go somewhere, I walk and I'm like, okay, this place does not have a proper pizzeria on the main drag. They have one Domino's. Cool. Have something else. So my point is, there's so much opportunity. So you're going to a place that people are like, third world country. I don't know, man. Parts of Ontario are becoming pretty third world, if you ask me.
Well,
right?
Make some points,
yeah. But at the same time, what is third world? There's lots of things about third world that I absolutely love. And there's things about the first world I absolutely love. And there's things I hate about the first world, and things I hate about the third world. So, like, what does it even mean? Who gave us these terms, to be honest? Like, at the end, we're still human. We all still breathe. We all still cry. And we can all still fall, as guys, we can fall in love with a beautiful woman that's a third world country girl or a first world country girl. What does it even matter?
You went there
right?
already, yeah?
No, but it's true. What does it matter?
This man wants to cook already.
No, but it's true. And this is just one city in one country, right? And we are in one city in North America and Canada here. But that's just like one small place. So everywhere you go, like, man, we haven't talked about anywhere else in South America. And that's my plan. My plan over the next 5 years is to go to more places in South America. Colombia is a big one for me because it is the closest country to Panama. And because I have a place in Panama, I just go to Toronto, Panama, Colombia. Also, I find that the friends I have there are just real people, you know. So I was like, cool, man. I met people that I like. I can do stuff with, and it's enjoyable. And I have a group, right? You know. So it's cool to have that, and that all comes from me do every single thing that somebody does in this world leads them to a different path. But the path doesn't exist unless you walk down the first step, right? So we're always like, boom, open the door. Cool, 3 choices. Open the next door. 1 choice. Close the door. Open the next door. 4 choices. Okay, forget that door. Well, you know, we're always kind of walking through doors, trying to pivot, trying to find the best way. And man, and the other thing people need to know is that we are so stuck on money here. It is like the craziest thing. And it's just it is like this paralyzing thing that like dominates our brain. And I'm like, dude, like, just be happy, love somebody, whether it's your mom, dad, sister, motorbike, yourself. That's all you need, man. You know, You don't have to seek validation from others. I mean, those are all kind of like standardized stuff that you see on the internet. Because nothing really that anybody can say to you will actually that you have never heard before. We've always heard it, but it's the right times to hear it. You know.
I think what it speaks to, I feel like a lot you talk about the money situation, but I feel like we're being psyoped here in the West, but there's other places in the world that you see is not the same. You know, like a lot of people want to move to America because they have their challenges, their reservations over there, but it's the same here. But it's just like some people just want to get out of this area of Canada.
I think, you know, man, it's a very difficult one to answer, but I would say that in Colombia, we can talk about girls, but so guys will be like, man, I want to go to Colombia because the girls are good, they're traditional, you know, they're so sweet, they're so nice, they're you know, they're warm-hearted, they're family-oriented, which is very true. There's no question about that. But then there's also a whole whack of girls that go to Miami back and forth, that only care about like looks, money, and all that stuff, yachts and all that stuff. They exist in Colombia. So it's not like, hey, I'm going to go there, I'm going to find this like unicorn. Dude, there's unicorns everywhere. It just depends on what you're looking for. I mean, that's just the bottom line, you know?
Dig deep, yeah.
Yeah, dig deep.
Ask the right questions.
Yeah, ask the right questions. And and this is the deal, man. You know the deal. You can sit across from a girl that's all dolled up, all pretty. You ask her 5 questions, and she'll break down and cry and say, like, I don't even like what I am today. It is true. It is true.
Oh,
you're thinking like, okay, well, that's the real you. I want you. I don't care. Like one of the things for me might have been important for everybody else, but for me, it's like, man, I want to know what you look like without makeup. I want to know. I don't want you dolled up.
Natural beauty.
Like, yeah, man. I'm like, yo, like, man, because I'm like, okay, I know what you can look like. Because I mean, we all have the internet. So I know what one could look like with and without makeup. I know what I could look out with makeup if I shaved. Beyonce. Right? I mean, we can all look like whatever you want.
Beyonce with the cowboy hat, though?
Yeah, whatever.
Texas Hold'em?
No, but the deal is, man, I mean, like, really it comes down to the human core of it. Because that's all we need, man. As guys, we need to be loved. We need to be cared for. We want to care for somebody. We want to know our worth. We want to work for somebody. We're not like we work for ourselves for sure, but we honestly want to work for somebody. At least that's how I am, you know? I care about having somebody to care about. That's just me. Not everybody's like this for sure. But I also think, man, it's really, really important that you don't believe in my life's going to be this way forever. Because people change, situations change, life changes.
Facts.
And it's like, man, and I think, like, how do you stay sane is the thing. So, like, let's talk about the businesses. People always ask me all the time, how do I have so many businesses? And it's like, that hits all the time. If you just focused on one thing, you'd be way more successful. I would also be bored out of my fucking mind. And I'd be depressed. Because I cannot do one thing. So for me, I can't. And what does that money make? So let's say, for example, your expenses per month are $5K. And you made $50K. But you still like to work because you want to do something with your life, and you've done all the cool stuff, you've gone all the travel, you've done all the stuff. Then now you come back to this and you're like, cool, what's the purpose? What is the purpose? Like, we are all driven from the time we're young to be like, you got to make money. If you don't make money, you're not fucking successful, and people will judge you for money. And it's good to have money. It's good to have money, but how much money? So they always say, like, now it's like you make $20K a month, you don't need any more money. And I think the answer is true. You don't need any more money, as long as your expenses are not fucking 21K.
Crazy, yeah. Crazy, yeah.
But I think 20K is even way too much. I think obviously, if you're watching from Toronto, New York, or Miami, obviously 10K is not going to be enough, right? But really, man, if you're taking home 10K clean and your expenses are $3,000, how much more money do you need? You know?
It brings to something here that you said, even when you're talking about finding people and dating and things like that. Yeah. For you, you're at that part of life right now. You see the subs, you see the traction, you see the motion, you see the numbers. Sure. When you're sitting down and you're talking to a young lady, you can obviously see through that. Speak to
over 23, but yeah. Just got to make sure we put an age group.
This man came here. This man came here with a mission.
Yeah.
But what I see is that, because I was talking to one of my boys about this also too. It's like, as you're climbing, you don't want somebody to come in to take and look at you to see, oh, he's got all this, now I want to date him, or now I want to be around that. Yeah. You're wanting to elevate with somebody on, like, that sees for the right reasons.
For sure.
So how do you distinguish between that?
First of all, how long do we have? Because that's a very, very
we got time, bro.
Very, very deep. Okay. So let me ask you a few things. I've talked to, like, all guys will talk to a lot of guys, their buddies, about this. Sorry, that just made me burp like crazy. I don't care about the camera.
Mike is coming with a mission, bro.
Yeah, bro. Listen. So I would say there's no direct clear answer, but I will say I've talked to one friend that says, you know what, man, I want to be with a girl that's on exactly the same as me, same level as me. We're doing the same path. We're walking the same path. We're doing the same thing. At some point, though, it might have a bit of a shift because their path is slightly different than your path. And as time goes on, you can have that spread. That's one thing. The other thing is that any female, generally speaking, between the ages of 25-ish, 26 to 32 is going to want to have kids. So that's something I run into, where it's like, hey, they want to have kids. And I'm like, man, I don't want to have kids. You know, it's like I could have a kid, but it's not my preference, you know? And I don't want to restrict. Like for me, I'm like, I've given this body, given this opportunity, given this life right now to try to do the best I can, but not be like totally focused on this thing and don't have time for somebody else. I could totally have time for somebody else, but what does that other person look like? I feel like if you want to advance, what is the purpose? If the purpose is, listen, I have a business, and my business for my specific case right now is obviously the internet. So that includes Instagram and YouTube. So for Instagram, for example, with all these house tours, I could totally just only look for the most beautiful women I can possibly find. I don't care if they're smart, dumb. I don't care if they want me for my money. I don't care if nothing matters. If the purpose is to simply just have them on my arm, walk around, try to lure guys in to be like me, and then take them for my house tours, and then have these girls come with me when we're trying to sell houses. That is a purpose-driven human. So my purpose is strictly for that. If I want to sit there and have conversations about, hey, you know what, like, I'm thinking about doing this with my life, and, you know, my family has these issues and stuff like that, what kind of output am I getting from that person? Then I'm like, dude, we're on totally different planets here, right? So you really have to look inside to yourself and see like what kind of woman you want, you know? I mean, to me, I just want somebody fun. I wouldn't say light, but I'd say I want somebody fun that's exciting, that doesn't really have that much negative energy in their body. That's a big one, you know, it's a big one. I do want somebody that's gone through some challenges because I've gone through some challenges. So there's some baseline pieces you want. But at the same time, man, some guys just want girls just to have fun. Like, you're just like, dude, I just want something super light. I don't want to have any deep conversations whatsoever. And I just want to have deep conversations with my boys and my family. And I just want...
But don't that get boring, though? I feel like...
Well, I think it gets boring if you're staying at home with them a lot.
Yeah.
Right? If you're like, just come back to my apartment, let's just sit, watch TV, talk about it, have dinner together, talk deep thoughts. Yes, you can definitely get deep. I mean, the reality is, man, I don't think you can ever get as deep as you can with a female across from you in any conversation than you can with your boys. Your boys, you can have good conversations. You can laugh about stuff. You can have like brotherhood items that you can talk about. But I think with a girl, you can talk about like your true, like you can go deep as hell, you know? And you can get as vulnerable as possible, like with anything, man, because you're like, that's my girl. Like, if I can't tell you anything, what's the point of me living? You know, that's what we think, you know? And with the boys, you can say that stuff, but what happens with guys is that we all kind of separate over time, whether it be with finances, whether it's beliefs, or like, you know, or like you find a girl and then you're like, listen, boys, I'll be back in like 5 years. Like, I'll get back to you guys. I'll be back in 5 years. So guys do pull out because we always think, you know what, man, my boys will always be there for me. So you're not always tight with your boys. Unless you've already been through a whole bunch of girls and you're like, you know what, man, I just want girls for fun now, and my next step now is boys, and that's all I want to be with the boys, you know. But I do believe, man, I personally believe that a woman will take you further than just by yourself. I do believe so. You know, maybe financially, that could be questionable, but I think in like the quality of complete life, I think with a woman for sure, man.
It's one of the things that I say, and I feel like if I see it in any internet space or social media, you got to be the 1, the 3, and the 5, vice versa, and she's either gonna be the 2, the 4, and the 6, and everything plugs the way it needs to plug. Yeah. And you don't see that now in dating, because I feel like it comes into where you get in a lot of conversations, or you may go out on dates and things like that, and you know where you're at. Yeah. But then there's a whole bunch of things that come with it, like, oh, well, you have an ego. It comes across like you have an ego, or it comes across as like you have all these different things that are wrong with you, but it's not. And you're just like, well, who are you talking to? Yeah. Who are the guys that you're entertaining? Because it's like, I'm sure of myself. You got to remember,
for sure,
I have a retail background of 13 plus years. I have a podcast going on for 7 years. I'm pretty sure I know how to
put your time into it.
I can swing the sword whenever. This thing just swings whenever it wants to. You know what I mean? So it's like, I'm sure with the conversation. So it's like, I know that I can interrupt and like take the conversation somewhere else, because that's just media.
I mean, we're used to talking, so we know the game.
So we know the game.
But then I wonder, I think, man, it's a very hard one, because I think that it's, if you are stuck at home and you only go, if most people spend 85% of their life absorbing information they get from their phones, which is what most of us do, and then 10 to 15% of us go out to communicate with humans face to face, we already have a wall, whether it's translucent, transparent, whether it's high, whether it's low, whether it's brick, whether it's made from ice. That's all different for every single person based on when they're talking to you, based on your looks, based on what they just saw on the internet that day. That's how they're going to approach you. So if you, and like, it's like, how many times do you have to talk to a girl to like be truthful, I guess, right? Because a lot of guys will just lie, for starters, to get whatever the fuck they want out of the woman they're talking to. And then you're like, okay, but she's already like, girls are used to all that shit. So where do you find the right human? You know, that's the biggest problem. That's
why I say they gotta ask the right questions. But then I know that they do their research. They got to do their homework.
Yeah,
they have to. Like, you can tell who's like. I'll say this to like ladies, any ladies that are watching this, even men also too. Women know not who they're. I don't want to say who they're greater, like who's greater than them,
for sure.
But they know who's who.
For sure.
And the thing is, I think they look at that and then they find like ways to like, let me just disqualify that. They find little ways because
it is a dog eat dog world, man.
Right? They don't think that they can get to his maybe level, and it's not what we want. We don't necessarily want that. We just want you to be there and just understand, because that's really what they're there to do. Women are there to understand.
For sure. I don't know. This world is really complicated, so I can't.
You can talk about it. There's a lot of distractions out there.
There's a lot. For sure, there's a lot of distractions. I don't know. I think I can only talk about myself right in this moment in time. So last year I had a really good girl that I was with. She was in Panama because I had a place in Panama. She was from Panama. I met her. It took about 4 months to kind of have a relationship with her, right? And we were, I would say, quote unquote, together for 6 months, and really good girl. It's just what happens with me is that because I'm going from place to place. So I'm in Canada for 2 weeks a month, and I'm in South America, Colombia specific, for two weeks a month. So when you have that, it's difficult to actually have a girl that's like, like which city am I picking? Am I picking a girl that's in Colombia? Yeah, I play Monopoly. Like, who am I picking? Am I picking somebody from here? So it's like the ideal girl for me is somebody that can travel, pretty straightforward stuff, somebody that works from their computer, and somebody that just likes South America as much as I do, right? To go there and back and go back and watch these things come. We can bounce off ideas. Would I make it further with somebody on my team right now? For sure.
Absolutely, we all would.
All would. But the other problem with that is that if I had somebody on my team, could I just go out on random like dates, not even with girls, but just dates with? There's some really good girls out there, man, and it's hard to pick. I was in a very long relationship prior to where I am today, right? So for me, it's having that piece already, and it's like walking into it when I'm like, I have this opportunity of just doing me. So I only think really the door's open for somebody to come into my life in a real way if they're on board to coming to just jump on my team and just making me the best I can be, and in turn making them the best they can be.
Exactly.
Because I'm very good.
See, the thing is, you hear all these talking points. Oh, you got to be so tall. These got to make so much money. And I was just talking to a friend about this, and he goes, a lot of what we see, it's BS. It's not what it's supposed to be, because like you want somebody to be wanting you for you. Exactly. You know what I mean?
Yeah, for sure,
and then you build.
For sure, man.
But I think it's what comes into it is the intimidation factor. And I think that, and I'll speak.
I think it's time. I think it's I think if so for me, it's I was telling you this earlier. I was telling you, man, like I friend zone every girl I possibly know. Because I think like I'm not trying to get with every girl at all. Like every guy's like, I'm trying to get with her in some weird.
I like that.
They are trying different ways, and that's cool, man. I get it. I understand. We're guys. Like we have to try. I mean, you have to shoot our shot every time. But I'd say, man, it's for me. I says all the time. I'm like, man, I'd rather you be in my life for 30 years as a friend than try to get with you for 3 months, burn all this time pretending that you're somebody you're not, and then it just goes away, and you're like, that person's gone out of my life. It's just like I get it. Even as a friend, they can go, come back. But if they have relationships, that's cool. But they'll always be your friend. You can always just message them out of nowhere. Be like, hey, what's up? This is what I'm doing. Can you help me out? Or can I, I'm going to come to this city. Can I come? Can you go for dinner? Whatever. But you have that access to that person. And same, vice versa, for them to me as well, right? If they're pushing because they want to do something, and I'm like, this girl's annoying as shit. Like, I don't want to do anything with this girl. Like, she's just not my type, right? Because we have types. I mean, to be honest, we're not like, all confident men that are doing something with their life have some sort of type. We're not like, we're open for every single human. No,
can't be. You can't be, because that's where things get wild.
Nah, man. No. Dude, I mean, like, it's post not clarity, man. That's the deal, right? You know exactly what you want. You're like, this is what I need. You're not like this delusional,
Lord.
Cloudy.
They're gonna get on Google and be like, what did he just say?
Yeah, it's not like we're not cloudy in our brain.
Yeah.
And that's one of the biggest faults about us guys, right? I mean, it's like we get cloudy in our brain of what we want, and then we're just saying these empty words and what's the point?
No, and this is the thing. It's like a high value conversation in a way, because it's like, I always speak to men, like, have that discipline. It doesn't have to be, you say put women in the friend zone, but it doesn't have to be like everything you see. It's like, yo, I need to attack and be hunting. You know what I mean?
No,
because women can
think that.
Women can actually pick up on that.
Dude, women can leave and they get hunted every 2 seconds.
You see what I'm saying?
So why would I even, not that why wouldn't I bother? Because it's not like be like, I don't care, or like, it's like a conversation of like, should you be a jealous guy or not be a jealous guy? That's a great way to put that together, right? Some people be like, well, I'm jealous because I love her. And some people are like, I'm not jealous because I'm like, dude, I'm confident in myself. If guys want to hit on her, she should stand up for herself and be like, no, this is my man. So you can pick both sides, right?
Exactly.
I think, man, the key though, the whole key to this thing is that you just got to be yourself.
Absolutely.
That's the deal.
Absolutely.
That's it. End of story. That's it. You know, and all that stuff will come, and you got to experiment as much time as you can. Keep grinding, hammering until something works. If it doesn't work, just move to the next thing. And just don't believe that just because you think it's going to work, it's going to work. Mm-hmm. And don't believe that you think it's not going to work, it's not going to work, because sometimes it does. For sure. You know, it's with every single piece, man, you know? So, but YouTube's killing it. Like, we're on fire. Yeah. It's amazing. We got our first like real, I wouldn't say sponsor, but kind of a sponsor. Sponsorship deals are changing. We can switch up gears and jump onto YouTube. I'll change it up for you guys. So, YouTube is a great space because we're getting like between 2 and
top
2.5.
Top 3 search engine.
Oh, dude, in Canada for solo. Now, the great part about it is my partner Ian he's putting his face on camera more. But in terms of like solo, like individual YouTuber for car views, I'm #1 in Canada.
Yeah.
Dope as up. Yeah. Number 1 is Throttle House. Number 2 is Straight Pipes. Number 3 is Motormouth. And number 4 is us, if we were considering ourselves like comparing channels. But we're not duos. I'm the only single person. So that's dope. I'm like, cool. But I want Ian, who's my partner, to come on board more, because I'm like, dude, he brings such a different vibe to it. He's very calm. He's clear. This guy is like all over the map, jumping around like crazy. Like I'm freaking skipping like a bunny. You know what I mean? So my style is totally different. It annoys people sometimes, which is amazing, because then they can comment and go crazy in it.
Wait, why would they be annoyed? Because they see the high energy?
It's the internet, bro. It's the internet. People get mad about it.
Yeah, they just talk smack.
They just get smart.
People, so let me ask you this question.
Yeah, go.
Because where you're at, right?
Yes.
Over what, 200K subs?
250, yeah. 240. Sorry.
240. All right, 250.
250.
Soon to be a million.
It's 240. It's 240.
That million. You don't get the million plaque. That's a gold plaque,
bro.
Man.
This place will be so old looking by the time I get a million.
Get out of here, man. It's coming soon, bro.
Soon.
It's coming soon.
2047.
No, I would say sooner than that.
We'll see.
I'll say by like 2026 tops, at least.
No, I think 2027 and a half is.
All right, see, so you're lowering the bar on yourself.
Before 2030, man.
You're lowering the bar on yourself.
Yeah, but it is a cool place to be. I think the thing I like about that stuff, so there's some like extra perks that I like about it. One is because I'm a journalist. So here's an example. If anybody is younger, so anybody like under 23 wants to be a journalist, they can simply just be a YouTuber like me. And if you're in it long enough, so it's been 3.5 years now, but after the first 1.5 years, after we had enough view time and enough publications, which is videos, you can apply to be a journalist in Canada. And you can't do that unless you go to school to be a journalist, which is 4 years. So I'm like, I skipped 4 years, became a YouTuber, and in those 4 years, I made money, became somewhat successful, popular, whatever, visually, and I get this little plaque, and I get to be a journalist. All in this experience, as opposed to going to school, spending $70K or $80K to be a journalist, to only come out and then start from scratch. Like, how crazy is that?
It's the new world we live in.
It's the new world we live in.
You don't really have to go to school, per se, for journalism.
No.
Like, you see all these podcasts now booming.
Yeah, man.
And the thing is, my only discrepancy is I love the shout out. No, I appreciate that. But where it becomes challenging is you start seeing like all these celebrities now doing podcasts, and you realize they're not doing it for the right reason. They're doing it because podcasting is the clout antics right now.
They're also in big trouble, man. I mean, I'd say traditional celebrities are in big trouble. Especially if they haven't had any social presence, they're in big trouble.
Oh, they're done.
All them,
it's us. It's us that are kind of leading the way right now.
All the mid. So all these like shows we used to watch, younger, anywhere basically 20 years ago to 10 years ago, all those people that had shows, if they did not put themselves on social, they're toast today, man. Nice. They're looking for people to be on this because this is where the money's at. It's crazy.
No, absolutely.
So yeah, man, you're just killing it, doing well. We're trying different ways, so we're gonna launch a Spanish channel now, which is dope because I feel like we need to do Spanish. You know,
what made you want to do that?
We just
I kind of know. I saw the video that you did. And I was
Why?
like,
oh, we
damn.
need to expand. I think we're being silly if we just think that North America is our market for us, which it is. But I mean, we have the rest of the world, right? Yeah. And so I think we got to do a Spanish channel. Basically, I mean, like, listen, man, you don't have to reinvent the wheel. Just watch Mr. Beast. He'll tell you what to do, right? You know what I mean? Yep. He's killing. Obviously, like with. I mean, I would say that if we have 10%, we'll have 23,000 subs. And if we take 10% of what we should make like $2,000 a month just by having a channel based for Spanish-speaking people. So we'll see. So I think it's just kind of like moving that along. As I said, we got our first actual sponsor, which is gonna sponsor us pretty much on every video. Whereas like we just do these one-off sponsorships, in the past. So I don't know. It's when somebody came to me and asked me, it's like, how many subscribers do you have to actually get a sponsorship role? And I think it's like you have to hunt for sponsors. You have to hunt for them. They're not going to show up. Thank God for us, they've shown up. But I think that if you want to be successful, you have to hunt for it. I just have so many other things that it's hard for me to go sit there and hunt. And myself and Ian, he's busy. He's got another 2 side roles that he does as well. And for me, I mean, I have tons and tons of businesses, so it's hard for me to go and knock on doors just to get money for sponsorships. But YouTube does also something really, really big for me, man. And that is when I do a press trips with cars. So I do pretty much every manufacturer. And most of the manufacturers fly me and sometimes Ian, depending on if they have spots, because sometimes they're really picky about videographers. They want like the face of the channel, but they don't want the back end, because they're like, if we're giving one person a spot and we're giving 2 people a spot, we're taking 1 spot away from somebody else, right? So they don't give us both. But I get basically probably about 30 trips a year through manufacturers for new car launches. So we fly to Vegas, we fly all over the US essentially, and sometimes Europe, to go back and forth, which is really cool because then I get free points. And then I use those points to fly to Colombia, to fly to Miami, to fly to Brazil. So that's the cool part about it, And of course, all my spending that I do for my companies all have points. So it's like aggregately, everything makes sense to all point to free travel for me. So that's why I can travel. That's why I'm always on a plane, because I can travel almost for free by all these things, And of course, if you open up a new credit card every 2 years or every 14 months, you get a whack load of new points, and you can use those points to travel, So it's really cool to have that, just YouTube. And again, man, it's just literally coming to the studio. Obviously, there was an investment that I had to spend in the studio 3.5 years ago or 4 years ago, but it's coming here, setting up the cars, and just being myself, man, in front of a car, and basically just knowing what the car is, studying it a little bit, and blasting it out,
So when people hear your story, the success, I'd asked you one of your questions at the networking event. You danced around it in a way. You said, I'll get back to it. And I said, no, you're not, because I got you. I'm going to get you.
I got you now.
I got you now.
You're like at the 41-minute mark. Or 38 minutes for you guys.
Honestly, what keeps you up at night?
Nothing, bro. I just eat. Listen, my mom's Indian. I just go eat rice and curry, and then this goes in my belly, and I fall asleep. So
this guy, honestly,
like what keeps me up at?
Yeah, what keeps you up?
Like in a scare. Like just go a little bit deeper.
Let me go deeper. Yeah, go deeper. What with all of that you're doing? Does the brain ever shut off, or is it just like you're laying in bed and you're just like?
No, the frustration is I'm not moving fast enough, to be honest. Okay. Like that is yeah, for sure. Like there's so much more I want to accomplish. So I think I just told you guys this on the mastermind. I'm creating a show, right? I'm creating a show in Colombia that's going to represent how great Colombia is from a real estate perspective, because there's nobody doing it. Like a selling Sunset, but a selling Gringo. So I bought the domain, I bought everything to have this show, and the show's going to kill it. Like it is absolutely going to kill it, because I understand how advertising works. You see this? Canada Dry. Except instead of Canada Dry, it'll be your brand at my show. I will get paid from the person that has their drink on my show. And maybe for the first couple episodes, it'll be for free. But once they start getting attention, they see some sales behind it, guess who they're paying on the 3rd episode? This guy. So everything we have, wardrobe by that person. That person realizes, wow, this show's actually getting popularity. Now they'll pay, give you free clothes, give the whole crew, staff, free clothes. So you have to think about it from an advertising perspective, where it's like, hey, you have all these individual pieces that you can kill it with the show. Number one, obviously I talked about advertising and like spending and all this fun stuff when it comes to like money. But the other part of it is think about all the attention that I will get. Well, people will want to buy a property from me because of the show. Just like selling Sunset. Pretty straightforward stuff. I'm not reinventing the wheel. I'm just doing it in a different country that nobody's done it before. So that's I'm like, man, I got to go so now I'm like, I got to go interview 6 different media teams and see how much it's going to cost, because I'm funding this whole thing out of myself, right? So it's like I'm taking my money in my pocket, I'm risking my money. But as long as I have food on the table, a roof over my head, and friends around me, and I know that I can live on this money for the rest of my life, while I work, because it's not like I'm never going to sit around. I'm never going to go broke. It's impossible. I could be married 40 times, and I can go through 40 divorces, and they could take every single dollar from me, but I will still never be broke, because it doesn't have money in this fucking heart. It has like movement, motivation. I can come to your house. I have enough friends that even if every single dollar I lost, I could go to your house and you would put food in this body, right? Worst case, like think about the worst case scenario. You can make enough friends in this world where people will feed you. You can have enough people in your life where you can have somewhere to stay. And as long as you have those things covered, what are you worried about? Like, what is the worry? What is the worry? I am never buying a yacht. Never. I'm never buying a Lambo that's going to be worth $300K now and zero tomorrow. Because Lambos are always worth some money, because there's always some dummy that's going to pay for it. The end. I don't have a Lambo, but I'm just saying if that was the case.
You just ruined a potential
Lambo purchase? No.
They're not. They don't see this. No, we don't want them.
I had a toy. No, I had a toy. Like I've had that stuff, right? So it's like, things I've touched it, man. I wanted it. I bought it. You know, I had it for 3 years. I sold it. I made some money on it, and I understand how that concept works. So I've done all that. I've done a lot of stuff in my life, man. And I can only do it when you're doing so much in your life. You get to maximize every single piece of your life way more than anybody else does that's doing 1/10 the work that you are. So I'm living 10 times the life somebody else is, because I'm just putting in 10 times the work, 10 times the movement, 10 times the attention, 10 times the wanting, 10 times the trying, 10 times the failure, 10 times the wins. I'm 10 timesing. It'd be like, did I say 10 times?
10x.
Yeah, it's not even about that, man, but it's more about the effort and attention I put into everything, you know?
Oh, for sure.
But let's get back to the why. Like, what keeps me up at night?
Yeah.
Is I feel like, man, have you watched that thing on the internet where it's like they saw this the other day, but it's basically like one long piece of paper, and they take off the first 15 years of your life, and they take the last 50. So if you have if the average person lives to 80, you take the first 15 years out, you just take it off the piece of paper, you take 15 years off the end, and you're basically left with like 50 years of your life, right? And the first, like, from basically we only really we start living at like 15. You can remember like 15. I can't remember 10, to be honest. I can't remember 7. I can't remember 8 years old, but I can remember 15 and up. So 15. And you like, okay, 15. So you're like, you live in your 20s, cool, enjoy your life, do crazy shit, whatever. 30s, trying to make a life, trying to make some money, trying to have some sort of stability, do the whole usual stuff. And then I don't know about 40s and 50s and 60s, I'm not there yet, but I would say, like, man, I only have 30 years left of my life. 30 years. And every year they're like, okay, we're January 2024. Now we're in March 2024. Before we know, we're going to be June 2024 when this podcast drops. June 2024.
He said it's dropping in June. It's not coming in June.
No, but it's true.
They'll see it in June, though.
They'll see it in June, yeah. They'll be like, okay. Think about that, man. So we burn so much of our life away so quick. So it's like, man, I don't want to miss that stuff. So that's what keeps me up at night. It's like, I'm not accomplishing enough. When I'm in Colombia is the worst. I have insomnia at night, man. I cannot sleep. This brain doesn't let me go to bed. At 2 a.m, this brain is thinking about all the 15 things I need to do tomorrow on top of the stuff I already scheduled. So I want to accomplish these pieces. So when somebody asks me, hey man, like, what's the woman situation like in your life? I'm like, dude, women? I'm like, what? I'm like, that's not even on my radar. If she shows up, cool. If she's there to help me, cool. If she wants to help me, cool. If she wants to be part of this life, cool. But if she wants me to come and just be like, yeah, sit at home, you know, I want to watch TV tonight, not this guy. There's a lot of guys over there for you, girl. Not me. I'm very passionate about just winning, man.
What you do.
I want to win in this. And even if I don't win, I want to learn how to lose so I know how to win.
Oh, right? That's, you know, bars. I love what you just said there.
But I don't mean to be like that kind of thing, but I need to know what's going to work and what's not going to work. I need to know.
But that's what happens when you have goals and you have structure. You have your boundaries, you know your non-negotiables. And once you start putting those in place, I had a guest at this time that this is being recorded, it's already going to be out. And he said once I'm not going to quote him per se, but he said something along the lines of like, when people know that they can't play with you, they label you a different way. They label you like, oh, he's hard to work with, or he's difficult person. All these words.
I think that's problematic when you let people into your life to have you some influence. So I'll give you an example. So the only real people that have any bearing in my life is my partner Ian for the YouTube channel. I have another partner for my roofing company. My family, who's pretty involved in my real estate stuff because I was like, man, one of my dreams in my life was to, hey, I don't want my parents to work for anybody else. I want them to work for me because then I can tailor how much I pay them and I can tailor how much they work, right? Pretty straightforward stuff.
Thanks.
So it was like a dream. So I accomplished that and I was like, sick. So my parents are obviously on my real estate stuff. And then of course, like I have a whole bunch of other businesses where I have individual partners or I have myself. So I have I mean, every single business you get into, you have partners. So those people have influence to my life. Everybody else has nothing. They can say whatever they want to me, but it doesn't mean anything. So as long as I know that, I think those are impactful words when you're starting out or you're just getting to a business where you're dealing with people all the time and you have too many pieces. So a restaurant business, I could see that. So restaurant business, because you're dealing with customers, you're dealing with like suppliers. There's so many moving parts that anybody can affect your day negatively. Whereas for me, I'm like, no, you can't affect my day. The only person that can affect my day negatively is myself.
Facts.
That's
like that. Like you said, it's so true.
Whether I eat shitty, if I eat shitty, man, I feel like shit. That's on me. That's not on somebody else coming to my life.
So let me ask this question then, because I feel like overcoming adversity.
Yeah.
Can you speak to a time? And can you speak to what the bounce back looked like?
Yeah, man. Just a lot of crying. Yeah, just a lot of crying. So like an example was this. I mean, obviously we can always talk relationships because relationships are just easy for all. It's all of us, right? I mean, so like every single guy that has a heart that I've known in my life has either met a girl for the first time and knew in their heart of hearts it's not going to work for some reason, whether it even be religion or it be they're too far for distance or just feel like they're too quality for them. Like the guy just didn't feel good enough, right? Like the girl came from a better family or just more structured, more educated or something like that where the guy just felt like, oh, this girl was just like a little bit too, saying too good is tough, but too good at that exact time, let's say. And then they cry. I've done it where I was like, man, I'm in my shower and I'm crying because I'm like, this is an amazing person. I want this person in my life, but I just feel like it's just not going to be that person. And it just sucks because you're like, everything about this person is perfect for me now, but I know the future's not there for me. And maybe because I'm a future thinker, I think this way. And maybe that's sometimes a bad thing, but I would say like there's guys that have that where like, man, it's like, and that in some sense is adversity because you're like, man, I want this to work, but I know it's not going to work. So how am I going to bounce back the next time? I'm going to make myself better so I can level up to that level, hypothetically, or even dressing better. I mean, that's a very simple thing. I never really honestly cared about dressing the part all the time. It was just never a thing for me because I felt like I put more effort into like making friends, being a funny guy, being around people, doing good for people, actionable items. Those are things that actually meant something. How I looked on the outside, I mean, obviously, I try to stay consistent with what I wore, so I'd wear like hoodies and whatever for ACCELER8 stuff, but all I wore was ACCELER8 stuff for like 2 years. I would just wear black on black ACCELER8 stuff, and I'm like, man, I should just dress up a little bit different, like put on some like nicer stuff as opposed to just hoodies all the time, And even that would be like, if you meet a girl that dresses well all the time, you're like, man, I want to get to this person. But even if you meet buddies that are like, man, this guy dresses up so good. If I want to get what he gets, I got to kind of look like him, right? So those are like pieces where we all have like little tiny dips of failure, I think, or like learning experiences. And we learn it every day, man. Like I just found out like 3 hours ago. So a really good friend of mine, a brother from another mother, set me up with this guy. I won't say his name because he's either passing today or he's passing tomorrow. And he's in his 70s, but very high profile Hollywood director. And he's directed some top tier stuff. And he was my partner on this thing in Colombia, which is why I was like, man, this thing is going to blow up.
Which I heard the story at the networking event.
Blow up. Like, this is going to, I am connected so deep that it's like, man, like, there's nobody that can touch me. And I mean, I told you this before, but I'm like, man, I have the attention on Instagram right now for the buyers that want to buy in Colombia.
You do.
I have the attention.
I can co-sign that.
I have the attention for people that will give me houses in Colombia, the most beautiful houses that people that cannot fathom to have them in Colombia, right? As an example. I have that. I have the understanding of how YouTube works, where I obviously understand audio and I understand video, I understand lighting, I understand those pieces. So the only thing I was really missing was somebody to give me a script, a storyline, and somebody to help me get it to Netflix. I had the Netflix part and I had the Netflix part with this person who just had a brain aneurysm, which is very shitty. Pass from that.
It's a serious thing.
It's a serious thing, yeah. And he's in his 70s, his late 70s, but he's been following me on Instagram for a little bit. He loved what I did. He said, I pitched him the idea. He said, I loved it. I met him. It was a great experience, and we were partnering to do this thing, and I was putting work in. So now it's a little bit of a setback with him, and I don't...
for a comeback.
Yeah, setback for... I mean, obviously, like, it's like me thinking about business when I should be really thinking about him and like his family and all that stuff, But since we're just talking about the business part of it here, it's it's like, for sure, it's a tough one. So now I have to figure out a way, how am I going to get on Netflix, number one, and how am I going to get the stars on board, knowing that, you know, having him as a partner, right? He would help me get that stuff, you know?
What if I told you that he gave you the value,
for sure,
but things happen, and now it's going to be the detour.
For sure, yeah, not because I know the worth, right? I know what this is worth.
They always say it's so true. They always say certain people come into our life at certain specific times, and it's to give us that perspective. We speak about relationships. I can speak on so many women that have come in my life to really just give me that perspective where you have, you know, an ex that actually, where I used to work, which I still work for them. At the time, this is still coming out.
You're like, I don't know if I quit yet.
I don't know if I quit yet.
Yeah.
But the thing is that she had to make peace with her past.
Yeah.
And she had to say, I'm sorry. Yeah. She had to say, is like, I shouldn't have done this. I shouldn't have done that. I watch all your content to see if you speak about me.
Yes.
But that means I'm still running rent-free monopoly in your head. So I'm Boardwalk Park Place. I'm the Marvin Gardens, all this other different stuff. But you know what it did? It gave me an acceptance to say is, wow. Because she had to like, and even the hug. Yeah. It's like one of them type of hugs that you know is that
for sure.
The love is still there.
For sure.
Like if I was Thanos and I go like this, it's come back season.
Dude, we all have people in our lives that we love, but like it's never. That's why I'm not a big jealous person, because I'm like, listen, I'm like, if I'm with somebody and she's out there traveling doing her thing, I'm like, that's gonna come back to me anyways. Yes. So the higher I can build myself in this world, it hopefully puts myself in maybe I won't say a better room, but a more choice, right? You have more choice essentially, you know, of who you get to pick. But yeah, back to the show, man. I mean exactly where you place it, and I think that this thing is gonna kill it. And so I'm really excited about this, because I'm like, there's nobody doing it yet. And if somebody does do it, hopefully they shut the bed, because I want to come on and kill it, you know.
Listen,
no, man, no.
Everybody,
dude,
I think
I'm single and I'm free. I got the time to invest in this thing.
It's
right?
funny you say that, because you see people are idolized by what we do. With me, it's podcasting. With you, it's being a YouTuber. I guess once you get on YouTube and you get the following and stuff like that, it's like, you're a YouTuber now. Yeah. And so many people, they're enamored by what it is that we do.
Some people don't have no idea.
What they try to do is they try to duplicate it, and it falls by the wayside. Because they know that they don't have the sauce.
Yes.
I didn't say juice, because juice eventually runs out. Sauce can stay forever. Sauce can stay forever, right? So with your sauce and your flair, I know you probably don't pay attention to it, but do you get like people that are just trying to solicit themselves, hey, listen, I want to work with you, but they don't give any value?
Yeah, for sure, man. Yeah, for sure. I mean, we all start somewhere, right? I remember. I mean, like, how do you start, right? Like, dude, I mean, yeah, it's hard, man. It's hard because I've been in that situation so many times. I feel in that situation sometimes myself today in some spaces that I've known nothing about. Because at the end of the day, most people really stick in their lane. They try to be specialists or professional in their lane. Outside their lane, they're usually brain dead. So for me, and that's why the multiple streams of life essentially is knowing as many things as I possibly can in every avenue. I want to know everything about everything all the time. My ears are always open. I need to know, because I want to know.
Be a student of the game.
Yeah, I want to know how to put on these skis. Like, I don't know how to put on the boots for the skis and how they clip. I have no idea, but I want to learn. So whoever's out there to teach me, I want to learn. Hopefully it's like in the sand dunes and on the snow, because I hate the cold. But but at the same time, so I need to know. Like, man, every day I need to. That's just why every day I'm like, listen, I got those TVs. There's 4 TVs there. I need to know what controller I have to buy to make it merge into one. And if I can't find it, I got to figure out how to do it. So I'm always putting myself in situations to always constantly learn, because, man, I know that's why I say right at the beginning when I said this is like when I come back to Canada and I'm sitting at home for at my parents, because I'm with my parents as much as I possibly can. But I just get I'm like, man, I'm not doing anything here. And when I have less things in my life, I start getting, I wouldn't even say, depression is a hard word to use, but I would say, because I'm definitely not a depressed person, but I would say it's definitely like, man, what a letdown this place is. You know, it's like, where's the excitement? Where's the movement? And I know some people say, like, you need to calm down, have the peace, have the quiet. Yes, I can have that, but I want to be able to choose that. And that is the difference from just getting it. So it's being forced to me. Like, I love Doritos and I love Kit Kat. As soon as I eat that and put that in my body, I get tired, lazy, and I want to go to sleep. Shouldn't be a good thing. When I go to Colombia, I don't even want to eat that. When I go to Panama, I don't even want to eat that. When I go to Tulum, as an example, I don't even want to eat that. Like, I don't want to eat that. I don't want, but it happens here. I don't even know what it is in the food, but that shit goes crazy.
So people that may have distanced themselves from you in just life happens, and they listen to you and they see your success,
friends. Yeah, for sure.
Right?
Good one. I like this question.
Will they look at you and say, "Oh, he's cocky, he's ego"? How do you balance between that? Because what I want to do here now is really focus on the value piece of like people that listen to this and be like, well, maybe I get to a certain level. How are people going to perceive me?
Yeah.
Do you shrink in these spaces, or you just keep shining?
No, man. Yeah. You know, 100% I can tell you this is you can have a conversation with them. They're definitely on a different path than you, right? 100%. Like a person that's free, like there's two parts to my brain is thinking right now. The first one is, let's say, for example, we both grow up together and you're like, man, I'm going to kill it. I'm going to be this person. You have all these big, high, crazy dreams. And I'm like, and I don't have as many, I don't externalize my big, crazy dreams. And your big, crazy dreams don't actually materialize 10 years later. And I just plug away and I'm working. I plug away and I'm doing it. And then you're like, and then you're telling me, I wouldn't say derogatory things, but I would say you just poke at me, right? Because you're the one with the big dreams the whole time. I wasn't the one with the big dreams, but we switched roles, unfortunately. Like I got the big dreams and you didn't. And then when that happens, and I have a few friends like this that I grew up with, and I will say that they've just chosen a different path, right? You know what I mean? And my path has just been different, and I'm like, cool, man, and I'll come back to you, right? And we can joke about some stuff from the past. But I cannot talk to you about anything I'm doing right now. For ACCELER8, which is the car stuff, is like 94% men. Instagram is actually way better. It's 80% men, 20% females. My IDU for all my networking, the mastermind stuff that I do, has always been men. It's only the last 2 ones have been like mixed guys and girls. And so if I aggregate all that information, basically I speak to 90-ish% is all men. So I understand men very, very well. And for us guys, it's like, man, some stuff is very difficult where it's like, you know that you could just pick up the phone and call a buddy, but sometimes to call somebody that's going to be deep and sad, and you're just like, I don't have time for that shit. You know what I mean? And we all change, bro. We're all going to change.
And I'm getting that way too. Like I have a low tolerance for bullshit. Like I won't lie, I have a low tolerance.
Yeah,
like
I know.
I even see it in conversations. I think it's because like the strong point of being a podcaster, you have to have intentional listening. Mm-hmm. So when I be at work and you're talking and you just how you even formulate certain things, people get lost. Yeah, they're like, what did he just say? Yeah. Is this like, am I talking to the Oracle? You know what I mean? Yeah. And it's not even like that, but it's just like, they always say in the corporate world, meet people where they're at. Okay. And it's like, I get it. Yes, you have to meet people where they're at, but at the same time, it's like, why is that person not trying? Yeah. Try something, because communication is a hell of a thing.
I can't do corporate world, bro.
Right?
I can't do I can't do total street either. Yeah. So I can't do total street and I can't do all corporate. I'm kind of like in the middle.
You're in the middle, yeah.
Because street's tough too, man. I mean, street's tough. It's a different world. There's so many different worlds. There's so many paths. This is why the world's so great. Everywhere you go, there's so many different things people are doing that you can get excitement about and motivated, and you see ambition in humans and at every level. But then there's still people that open up restaurants and be like, the family's gonna open a restaurant, gonna make it big, and then like you come here 6 years later and they're just like worn out, weathered, and like there's nothing left, no soul, no life left, But when they started, they were all excited, and you see that over and over, and so people make the same dumb mistakes over and over and over. It's like, man, have purpose, stay light, love people, have fun, keep your expenses low. The end.
So how does one like yourself?
Yeah.
Because you speak of being so high, successful, business, fit, focus, driven. When do you get time to fill your cup? What does filling your cup look like?
I like showering.
This guy said he likes showering.
Yeah.
I swear, I love it, man.
I like to shower twice a day, in the morning and at night. That fills my cup. I love showering, yeah. I like eating my parents' food, obviously, because I'm a family guy. That stuff. I like restaurants. I like going out to eat. I like conversations with buddies. Every friend I have offers something different in a different role. I can call some buddies, just if it's like a girl thing, it's a funny joke, we can joke about that. I can have car buddies. I have like life friend buddies. I have buddies that I can call because I'm trying to figure out how to fix this concrete in the wall. So like that fills my cup, because I'm like, oh, I need to fix this. How do I do this? Who can help me? The internet fills my cup very heavy. Instagram fills my cup very heavy. I look at who watches my stuff. I look at who the people that who comments on my stuff. That's part of my life, man. My life is what I do. So it's not like I can separate them. And I think maybe that's why I understand. For me, I figured it out. Like people asked me 7 years ago. They're like, man, how have you figured it out? I'm like, dude, like the thought process then was have a full-time job that gives you some flexibility and have all these side hustles. That was my shtick. Way before YouTube, way before any of this stuff. So it was real estate, was like my like savings, because I would be like, okay, cool. I have a full-time job. I sold cars. And while I sold cars, if a customer didn't walk through the door, I would just work on all my side jobs. So I had a side hustle. So I'd have like 6 different businesses, and I focused on all those different businesses. Every day I'd put like an hour in. So I'd spend 6 hours a day while I was at my job, because I had no customers, so I had nothing to do. So instead of sitting there and just scouring the internet like everybody else, I would work on businesses. So I'd focus on businesses, and then boom, 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 boom. And that was like my game plan, right? So now I'm like, dude, now my whole life is the internet. My whole life is everything I touch. Like, dude, the car I get into is part of my job. When I go to sleep at night, I know when I wake up in the morning, I'm going to get up and I'm going to go drive and pick up a car. Before I go to bed, I'm editing a reel to post in the morning. As soon as I get up, I press post.
So you do your own editing too, eh?
All my own stuff, yeah.
Really?
Yeah. Not for YouTube. Not for YouTube.
Yeah.
No,
I
but
thought
Instagram.
I thought Instagram you'd probably have somebody
No, man, it's all my own stuff. I like to be engaged. Yeah, I like to be engaged in it. Man, this is the thing about me. I don't like if you. The thing is like, I choose where I want to spend my time, right? You know what I mean? And I love what I do. I love the editing. I love cutting. I love posting. I love in my mind, as stupid as this is, I'm like, when I post 1 hour from now, it's going to have 4,000 views. I look at it, it's like 5,000 views. I'm like, sick. And I have 3,000 views. I'm like, oh, what could I change about it? So you're constantly trying to evolve the next one. And then you have to, like you said, this podcast is going to drop in between another one. So you have to think in your mind, when am I going to drop this? Before, after? And when you have all those strategies in your brain, it gives you something to look forward to tomorrow, as opposed to like,
it does.
I work a 9 to 5, and guess what's happening tomorrow? It's Thursday. That means I have 2 more days before the weekend on Saturday. So it's like, dude, are you crazy? I mean, this is very cliche stuff, but for me, I don't even know what day it is today. I only know today's the day because I put in my calendar that we're having a podcast today. That's the only reason. Otherwise, I couldn't care if it's Friday, Monday, Tuesday, because on Saturday nights, I do not go out. I run also a life, sort of a contrarian approach. I'm always like, people are partying. I don't want to party then, because everybody's partying. That is where the competition is the highest. So if you're picking up girls, the highest competition on Saturday nights, in my opinion. Why do I go Saturday nights? Crazy lines. I don't want to deal with that shit. I'll go on nights where it's like less busy.
You just walk into places now, though, man. You got that. You got that ability.
Come on.
You don't have that ability?
Yeah, I do. But
you
still.
know you have that ability. I got.
Yo, why you got to put me on the spot, bro? Why you got to put me on the spot?
Because I know how it is.
No, for sure. But
you just walk in places.
It is. But I mean, it's still, man. I think that I just like to be. I like the grind, like the hustle. So I just want to always know that I don't want anything given to me that I feel like it's not deserved. Right? So I'm like, I don't want to just be like, yeah, you can come in. I like that. I like the stardom piece of it for sure at times. And I mean, it's only going to grow, right? It's only going to grow. And I think that as long as I can stay as humble as possible, I mean, some people might think I'm arrogant for some things, but I'm like, dude, I put the time in, man. What do you want me to do?
It's not arrogance, though.
It's confidence, right?
It's you're confident in what it is you're doing.
Yeah, man. Yeah. I mean? I expect, this is how I think about it as well. I remember in high school or even in university. I mean, I dropped out after 6 months, but the reality is that when you go to a classroom and there's 30 people to be a doctor, you have 3 to 4 of them that are really smart, going to be great doctors. You have about 20 of them that are just average, mediocre, and you have 4 that are terrible, but they all get being doctors. They're all going to be doctors. So it just depends on what doctor you decide to, which one of those 30 people is your doctor. And that's kind of how I think about it, man. It's like, man, I am really good at what I do, but I want to make sure that I give the right people the right service and just be as honest, as straightforward as possible, because I'm the best at what I do. If I'm this arrogant prick all the time and I come with this big ego, and I'm sure it would help me in some places, like for sure women, if I'm talking about women because we're talking about women for the most part, it does help if you're an arrogant prick with women sometimes, because you're overly confident. You have no qualms. You don't give a shit about what anybody thinks in a bad way, not even in a good way. You can make it further, but then you have to sleep at night. And then I can't sleep at night if I'm this arrogant prick and I've hurt somebody that I know that was like me, that started really from nothing. And to me, I always think about that person. So when anybody young that messages me, I will always leave them a voice note and be like, man, you know what, this is what you got to do, this is what you got to try. I'm like, send me a voice note with your problem. I'll listen to it. I'll try to answer the best I can, just to give guidance back, because at some point, that guy is going to message me 5 years from now and be like, man, I remember that message you sent to me, because it's happened to me so many times in my life.
Value.
I help as many young people as I can, because those young people will become old people, and those old people will help me when I need it. That is the deal. If I need it, you know?
Poetry.
That is, so I'm always doing that. And you cannot, no amount of money, you can give someone, you know the deal, man. It's like teach a fisherman how to fish, whatever. You give money to somebody that needs it, they're going to forget about you 1 year later.
Absolutely.
But you give information to somebody that really needs it, they're never going to forget
Absolutely.
you. Right?
Absolutely.
So it's like, for me, it's like grab, give, grab, give, you know? And I think that's it.
You speak about the younger generation, and it works in the networking also too. And one of my questions, because I feel like this for me, I want to ask this question because I look at you and I look at the connections you've built. Speak to how the importance of having that relationship with Richard Cooper, right? Yeah. Wrote the book, The Unplugged Alpha. Yeah. How did that start, and how has he impacted your life?
Yeah, so cars, I mean, we're similar in some respects, and we're not similar in other respects, you know? Where we both love cars. That's the first thing. We're both big car guys. We both believe in like chasing. His slogan is chasing excellence, right? So which I believe in. I'm a big chase excellence. Try to be the best person you can possibly be. And you know, we're all not perfect all the time. Dude, I don't go to the gym whatsoever. Like it's always like, so his thing is go to the gym. You got to be strong. And a lot of people do think because that's generally the path most men have to go to build themselves. The best part is when on the internet, when a girl like ditches the guy or the girl's cheating on a guy or whatever, the comments are like, dude, legs, you know, Monday legs. They put the whole workout regime, and I'm like, dude, this is crazy. I'm like, I just laugh. And you know, I see that, I'm like, dude, when a guy gets heartbroken, they have to go to the gym to build themselves back up. Right. It's the funniest thing. So obviously he talks about a lot about that. I don't go to the gym at all, and it's only because I'm so hyper. I cannot go to the gym. Like I go to the gym, I just can't go to the gym. Like for me, I'm not there yet where I'm like, I have to go to the gym to make my body feel good. If I feel like I can't accomplish what I want to accomplish every day, then I would go to the gym. But so he's big in the gym. I think for me and him, I think it's understanding that like, man, you just have to realize that everybody in this world is trying to get something from you. And I have to remind myself of that. And he reminds me of that. It's like, man, you have to just remember that sometimes people just want more from you than you'll ever get back. And I'm like, I tell him, I'm like, I know, man, but sometimes it's like, I just want to give, right? But then I get taken advantage of a lot, but I feel like I'm giving a lot back. So, but I can't change who I am. My mom tells us all the time. She's like, you're too nice. People take advantage of you. They just use you. You don't follow up with people, and they just charge you. They just bill you whatever they want. And I'm like, Mom, like there's both sides to every coin, you know? So if I could pick something up from Rich, it's just be more like structured in what I'm doing and to cut people off. And I don't do that sometimes. And I think that's one of my faults.
Certain people you got to cut off. I'll speak to that. Like after reading his book, I told you like before we hit the record button, The Unplugged Alpha is like, it's that book, right? You got chapter 4. Yes, it's chapter 4. You know, there are 20 red flags and things like that. Yeah. That's one thing. Yeah. But it's like, cause I don't want to trigger the female audience. Right? I don't want to trigger them. But it's one of those books that you have to read. But I speak about this, right? Where it's like, you see where he is very deliberate with what he's saying. Sure. He's focused with what he's saying, but it comes from a safe, grounded space. Yeah. Because I'm all on this grounded energy. You know when grounded energy's in the room. Yeah. You're grounded energy. I'm grounded energy.
I mean, I'm a bit psycho sometimes.
But it could be, maybe it's the coffee. I don't know. Maybe drink.
No, it's
the Canada Dry.
This is like 34 grams of sugar. That's about 30 more than I want.
It's all good. You're high on life, man. I love that, right?
Yeah, high energy all
but it's long. Like it just speaks to being around those ideal minds. Yeah. Those minds that you know they're gonna champion you to elevate your shit up.
I think the deal, man, is that it's the whole like. A lot of people, what they get from me is they get that I have no limiting beliefs. I've just never had that in my life. I think that's one of my strengths. I don't believe there's ever something we cannot get, you know? And sometimes I acquire things that I do not need. So like certain things in this place, I'm like, I don't need to have that automobile. I don't need to have that piece of machinery there. It's a weapon, but I don't need to have it.
It's a weapon.
But I have it because I know it's, you know what, I think the best way to put it from a guy's perspective is we want to have 300 horsepower in our cars, but we only need like 150. But as long as we know we have 300, we're good. We're good because we know we want passing power. We have that passing power at any point we want to have it. We don't need to ever use it, but just knowing we have it in reserves, we're good. Which is the same reason why people like savings. Most people don't even touch their savings. Some people touch it all the time. Depends on the mindset. But if you had your savings, you just had in the bank, that would give you more confidence. Some people want to look at their bank account and just see that number. And when they get the number, they'll be happy. But then when the number fades away, they're like, I don't even care about it,
that's
right?
Where most people get comfortable because they're not hungry when they're
exactly.
Right?
And yeah, I mean, I think that's one of the biggest things about money, right? Like if you get comfortable, it's the most dangerous place to be, man. Facts. It's like, I'm like, that's what I said, man. I'm like, what do we need in this life? You know, what do we need?
Well, it's funny you say that because it speaks to like from sports, right?
Yeah.
You look at the guys, like the high level guys, the Jordan LeBron comparison. The one
Kobe.
thing I will tell, was that?
Kobe.
Well, Kobe's good too. But one of the things that
Yo, relax, bro. Kobe's the shit.
Kobe's good too. Kobe's in there too.
I love Kobe, man.
Kobe's good there too. But the thing is,
Yeah.
you watch where Jordan is at the precipice where he was.
Yeah.
Is he had that killer mindset?
For sure.
I tell everybody the staple. If you want to really get your mindset even sharp, don't you even want to read books?
Yeah.
Watch The Last Dance.
Yeah.
And just clip up Jordan every single time.
Yeah.
Because the things he was saying, and he speaks on specifics.
Yeah.
This is how things are.
Yeah.
This is if I don't want people around me that don't want to win.
Yeah, 100%.
And then people hear that and they're
Just
like,
be by
"Oh
yourself,
my God,
man." Yeah.
I'm so triggered." But it's like you have to have that mama mentality,
For sure.
that killer mindset to do whatever you want to do, but never get comfortable.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Dude, it starts at every level, bro. I'm telling you, it's like the food you eat from the morning. When you wake up, the food you eat in the morning will put you in the right mood. So for me, I don't eat in the morning. I haven't eaten in the morning in like God knows how long, at least 10 years. I don't eat breakfast. The first thing I put in my mouth is maybe a little bit of water, and then I eat lunch, and that's it. So in the morning I have energy. So then it's always I have 2 meals a day, lunch and dinner, and that's it. I'm just kind of rock that way.
So
you know?
like more bigger meals, you think?
Yeah. More bigger meals I put in my body, and then I just kind of rock out, man. I think that's number one. I think the other piece about it is that I'm by myself a lot, where people don't actually know that.
Solitude.
Yeah, I'm all by myself a lot. So when I'm around somebody, I have enough energy to kind of blast it out. But also when I'm by myself, man, I'm in my thoughts a lot, right? Like perfect example is when I'm on the plane, I can take all this stuff with me, but when I'm on a plane, I'm just like this, like a zombie. I'm either sleeping or I'm like just thinking about exactly what I want to accomplish. And then I write those things down on a piece of paper. I look at it and I'm like, okay, that's what I'm going to get done. And then I don't think about anything but those things. And I just accomplish it. So it's like, those are the pieces, but I do that by myself. You know, like it's cool to sit and talk about like hyping each other up and doing all these things. But then we're just talking, like we're just burning calories, right? Nothing, no action. And I'm the complete opposite. I'm like, dude, I only want action. All I want is action, right? I don't want anything to do with talk. I'm like, we can talk about it, it's cool, but I just want action, you know? And that's why I like IDU for like the mastermind stuff, because as I was telling you guys, is like every 3 months, I want to be able to go up on stage. I want to say where the hell I was at 3 months ago, where I'm at today, and I want to tell you guys what I'm going to do in 3 months. And then when I come up here, I can talk about it, and then I can win because I'm telling you that I did it. And then when I'll have all these people, and it's been like 3 years now. So I've said this thing now, we're going to be a 10th one in Canada, and we'll have our 4th one in Colombia. So it's like 14 times, man. I've said this every time, and every 3 months, I'm on the bank. I'm on it. I'm like, this is what I said I was going to do. This is what I did. Maybe the pieces didn't all crack, and then boom, I did it. Like everything I've said into reality, I've said out loud has happened, man. And it's because I believe it's happening. There's no not happening. And I'm not stupid. I'm like, I'm gonna make $10 million this year. I mean, I'm not stupid. I don't put stupid things out there. I put in like things I'm gonna accomplish, right? Like I was talking about the show. I'm like, the next time I come up here, guys, there's going to be something you guys can watch. And there will be, man. I'm going to put something together that I want to get something to. And I'm hustling. Now, of course, with my partner passing, it's a problem because it's slowing me down. But it was in my mind. So I'm like, man, how am I going to accomplish this thing, you know?
That's where that hunger, I can just know by you not even saying too much. I know what the audience is probably watching and listening. You're going to figure it out. The light bulb's going to have to snap.
For sure.
And you're just going to be like, boom. And you're just, because everything you touch, it's going to produce some sort of success.
I can put some stuff out there right now. Is like the next one between now. So I'm going to be in March. I'm going to be in Brazil for the most of the month, and then April and May I'll be back in Colombia. So by the end of May, I definitely want to have more. Listen, I'm in a male-dominated space, so I think having pretty females on board is always a winning thing. So I'm going to try to get as many, females with some influence to be doing house tours with me. And hopefully grow the female part of things. That way it'll draw the guys in, whether or not they're married, not married, whatever. It's just the attention piece, right? Like, so you have the attention piece. So I think by the end of May, I think I have 28,000 subs.
You're giving marketing tips, man.
This
is a masterclass.
No, yeah, for sure. I mean, I think like you mean this, like you just have to play to your audience, right? So the audience wants to see that, and I'll just have to plug those in, and definitely by having females there, females want the attention. I have the attention, and most of my guys, I have a 55%. American audience, and they're 83% male. And then I have a 37, it's almost like 85, almost 90, 85%, between 85 and 90, it fluctuates depending on the month, audience. So 90% audience, North American, is huge on Instagram. So, that is the target market. And of course, the females that I will have, that is their market as well. I mean, you know, of course there's gonna be some Colombians for them, but majority of the market are gonna be foreigners, you know, so they want to have that foreign piece. So by having these girls in my ecosystem, essentially, that will help their brand, help my brand, so we both win. It's a winning sport, you know. So I'm gonna have more girls on board with that. So that's gonna be one thing for sure I'm gonna accomplish. The other thing I'm gonna accomplish is obviously more properties, because this thing is just kind of going and growing at a pretty fast clip. I'm by far the most watched real estate socialite, I won't say socialite, but social on your phone. Influencer, I guess you can call it. Kind of annoys me sometimes, that stupid word, but whatever. Influencer.
Just say person of interest.
Yeah, person of interest. Yeah, so if you're looking at real estate in Colombia, or Medellin specifically, there's nobody bigger than me at this moment, which is amazing. It's been 4 months.
You can humbly say that too.
It's crazy, man.
And you know, it's just how when you say that and you hear that energy, it inspires you to be like, yo, like.
Sure, but what's next? But what's next, right? Like, what's next? It's cool. You have the stuff, you have it. I think one of the biggest things, man, is that I've had gold in my hands many times and I've lost it. Because you just realize that your hand can only hold so much gold. So when you have it in your hand and you want more gold in your hand, that gold that you had kind of drops and it falls. And it falls where? Does it fall in your pants? Does it fall on the floor for somebody to sweep it up and take it from you? So you always know that you can never be number one all the time. You can't. Nobody was number one all the time. Oh. Nobody was, man. Nobody's in their highlight forever, man. You know, we forget about people. Like every big media person or somebody we cared about, whatever, has their hype and they die down. The only time they rejuvenate is when they change or they create drama, constant drama. So like, I mean, there's only a few people on this planet that have stayed relevant for 20 years and up. Like very few, man.
That's what's running the game now. Like it's controversy. You got to have some sort of controversy to you.
That'll end though, man. People will get annoyed with it, right? People get annoyed with it. I think that's why it's kind of being like, that's the word authentic's been thrown on a lot, obviously, in the last year or so. I think the next step would probably be like, like IRL, right? In real life or whatever, right?
Yeah.
The backpacks and the whole thing. And
you start seeing that. It's funny. I was watching a video on YouTube about that, and they're saying that it's like, it's more talking pieces, monologues, but like the authenticity aspect. It's I don't like using that word authenticity because
but it's just what happens we're not faking anything. It's
pandemic season just ruined all of it. You know what I mean? Pivot, authenticity, you know.
I mean, I guess if you had to figure out if COVID was good or not, for a lot of people it was really good. For me it was really good. Like it was great for a lot of pieces. The negatives for sure were people changed. A lot of people changed. A lot of divorces, just a lot of fights, a lot of isolation pieces, a lot of depression for a lot of people. A lot of people lost jobs, lost money. And then on one hand, the other people were like, holy shit, like this is crazy. Like for me, YouTube blew up for me, you know? So for me, it was great. It gave me that path to leave Canada, go to Colombia to start this thing, you know, because I was like, man, I'm like, well, I can't sit here and do nothing. Like boredom is the enemy for me, man. I just do not want to be bored.
So for everybody, though.
Yeah,
you know what I mean. Especially if you're in some sort of space of content creation.
You're trapped. Yeah, it's you know, like you can't be an absorber. You got to be a creator. So when you're a creator, like how can you be this trapped purpose person? So, yeah, man. No, I think that's a big factor of it all. You know. So, but the future, I think it'll be good. I think Colombia's gonna keep hammering it. I'm gonna check the rest of South America, do more house tours, get more attention. I have to figure out a way to streamline this attention. I got also figured a way to kind of understand all these different people because there's so many people in my ecosystem, my environment, my atmosphere. There's so many people I don't even know what to do with all these people. There's tons of great people, and they all offer something different, and they all want to work with me in some space. But I don't have time for everybody, right? So at some point, I have to say, man, I can't do this. I'm just going to focus on this. But I just got to keep my energy high and try to just bang it all until I can figure out exactly what I want to do and do that. But what I need to do is this is my year of stability because the one thing I haven't had is stability. That's really the biggest thing for me. I was in a very long relationship, and obviously that ended 2 years ago or so. So last year was just me traveling like crazy. This year's also been traveling a little bit crazy. But this year is just about getting my stability here with my place to live so I can have it all set up properly because I got this new apartment. So I'm cool. I'm going to set all this stuff up. And then in Colombia, I'm also getting this new apartment. So I'm going to have two spots.
Real time we're doing this?
Yeah.
Why did I just dawn on me and I feel like...
Bro, your eyes are glistening, bro. So tell me.
ABC might be like The Bachelor?
I could be The Bachelor. But I don't, you know what, man? So this is another thing. So I shaved my head. This is the first thing I've actually live. I've actually gone somewhere shaving. Actually, I did one YouTube video, shave my head. So I shaved my head. I look better with hair. So I was thinking, man, I'm going to go to Turkey and get my hair done. But But I've got all these people on Instagram who are like, dude, don't do that. Use these special natural ingredients. Use like rose water and use all these different things. And I'm like, dude, how am I going to, like, this hair is not going to grow fast. I don't really mind the bald look, to be honest. But at the same time, I do look better with hair. So I was like, should I wait for hair? Because honestly, I thought about going on The Bachelor. It wouldn't be a bad idea.
I'm just saying.
It wouldn't be a bad idea. I'd be the shortest guy there, or at least one of the shortest guys there, but it wouldn't be a bad idea.
I can't say it on camera because...
Can I need to get those shoes that make you like 2 inches taller that you see on Instagram?
I
like,
can't say it on camera, but I'll just say this. If people actually look at my past guests, there's been some stuff. I can't say it.
Yeah, nice. No, whatever.
But it's like... I think it's a look. You know what?
Yeah?
I believe it's a look.
Okay, yeah. I mean, I feel good in it.
I would tune in. It's must-see TV.
I feel good.
Because I think you would rock the fuck out of that show.
Fuck out of that show. Yeah.
Oh my God.
Can I tell you, actually, it's really funny because I thought about it 3 days ago. I actually thought about it.
That's crazy.
I know, but I have all these things on the plate and I'm like, man, do I go on? Do I attempt to apply? Just attempt to apply.
I would apply.
I feel like I have enough backing behind me. I'm like,
the other thing is, you talk about your metrics and the women and all
Canadian
that.
Or U.S.? Is it Canadian?
I say go U.S.
Yeah,
Why not?
US, yeah.
Go U.S.
Yeah.
Because the thing is, you know what increases? That increases.
Yeah.
Everything increases.
I know.
Medellín increases. Everything increases.
Yeah. Just going on, which is why I want to do more podcasts, right? I want to get on every single podcast I can in Toronto in the States all the time.
It's happening.
Yeah, I want
it's
to. 100%.
Happening.
Yeah.
This is my year.
This is my year. This is my year for stability, right? That's what I said. Once I have these 2 places kind of set up, and I will have this. Again, it's the whole thing, man. You have to just get I have so much stability here. And I figured everything out. But for me, I wanted to have a home, like a home here. So that's being set up this year. And then obviously like in Colombia, I've got this apartment now. Hopefully we'll see if it closes or not. And then obviously getting a car there and all that stuff to just feel more stable, right? Because we need stability. I don't think people understand what that even means, but we need stability. You can have a massive house with no furniture in it. And you'd be like, this is not stability. I want a small house that's manageable. It's like home. You know, I have my fridge, even your fridge being stocked is stability. It's crazy, but that's so little, but that's what we need, you know? So, but dude, Bachelor, that's a great idea.
Bachelor is going to happen.
Before
we end this, I want to ask this last question.
Well, you can ask 20 questions. I don't care.
What's that?
You can ask 20 questions.
We gotta listen. I gotta take you in doses because it gotta be a part 2, part 3. It's automatically happening. Like it's already gonna happen.
Sure.
But because I have an idea, I have another idea, but we won't say that on the air. But here's what I'll say to you.
If you've lasted this long, I should say.
Oh, they're gonna last that long. Trust me. What I would say to you is this: what's your biggest fear?
Being a loser. I never want to be a loser.
Okay.
I just don't want to be a loser. Like a loser when I say that, there's so many capacities. Like so many cliches to it, but I just never want to be a loser. I don't want to be that guy that I don't want to be sitting here. And again, back to girls. I don't want to be sitting here and there's a pretty girl there or a nice girl or whatever, that attraction you have to that person across from there. And I sit here and I doubt myself about it. Just get up and talk to her. What's the worst that can happen? Another example, I'm sitting here, we're talking about something, be like, you tell me a story about how you did this job and how you feel like these people are getting mistreated. And we can sit here and be like, man, but there's nothing to support these people. That's an opportunity. I don't want to be a loser and let these people fail. We can't be losers, bro. We got to help these people. That's one indication of that. The other piece is like, man, there's so many, it's just so many good things that we can give out. And I think that doesn't require that much more energy. We're already exerting energy to do your life. So like, why not? Is kind of how I think about it. But I say like also being a loser is that like, man, I have been rejected many times in my life, whether it comes to businesses, females, jobs, working for people. And I just like, I don't want to be a loser anymore. So I'm going to tell these people, go fuck themselves, basically. Because losers will take the abuse and winners won't. That's why I never want to be a fucking loser. True.
I'm a mic drop. I'm just going to mic drop.
Oh, sorry, was that the last thing? I thought we got more. No, kidding.
That's the last thing. No.
Don't be a fucking loser. Don't be a fucking loser. Man up, bitches. Yo, thank you, man. Respect.
Listen, man.
Respect. Respect. What time is it? How much time we burn?